Hello, gorgeous women of the internet. It has been so long since I have done a live training for all of you, and I've just had a lot on my heart recently. And I made a couple posts uh, over the last month, just mentioning how I felt a little bit quiet lately. And there's been a lot of introspection, there's been a lot of perspective changes. There has been situations that I've been dealing with that just really put into perspective what is truly, truly important. And this information could not be fit in a post. So I wanted to come here with you live, whether you are single and wanting to attract your epic love affair, whether you are healing your heart and you are not ready to date, but you want to feel whole and complete on your own. You want to feel happy on your own by yourself, whether you are wanting to leave a relationship. I've got some messages for you. And so the title of this live is Why My Dentist Will Probably Not Find Love Soon, but My Hairdresser Will. So I'm going to go into that, and maybe you'll identify with either one. And I'm going to talk about what needs to shift, what needs to happen in order for you to ultimately get what you want. So if you are here with me, say hi. If you are catching the replay, hashtag replay. Like I said, this year, all of 2020, 2025 has been so incredibly hard. And what I used to think was like, once you have a partner, everything's fixed. And that's simply not the case. However, having a wonderful partner totally changes the game when you're going through the hardship. And I honestly don't think I would have been able to get through what me and my daughter have gone through over the last couple months and what I've gone through with my health over the last year and a half if it were not for my partner. And so the wedding day is a week from Friday. And we're just counting down the days, we're preparing. And again, as I'm shifting into this role from girlfriend to fiance to wife, and so much has happened, it really truly has made me reevaluate a lot of things. And what I continue to come back to is the most important thing that you will ever have in your life is your relationships. Your romantic relationships is the most important thing that you will ever do in your life. It is not your career. It is not your friends. Yes, of course, your kids are up there along with your romantic partner, but your romantic partner is the co-author of your life. It will shape how you parent. It will shape, if you pick somebody and they end up being the father of your children, that's going to shape your children's lives forever. And if you are a single parent, like I was for 12 years, who you pick to have that child with will completely change your life. And a lot of the times I see that it's not in a good way. My experience was awful with my daughter's father. He has passed away now. But we were in a very, abusive, tumultuous relationship. And that really impacted the way that I showed up for my daughter. I was not present. And for those of you who have been through abuse when your children are young and you're in constant fight or flight mode, you don't really get to remember a whole lot, which breaks my heart. Like, again, as I've been going through what I've been going through the last couple months, there's a grievance there. There's not like a beating myself up, but there's a grievance there of what I didn't get to experience with my daughter and how I did not get to show up for my daughter as I would show up now, right? And so who you pick as your romantic partner is the single most important thing that you will do in your life. who you surround yourself with, because this partner that you're picking, for those of you who have had a history and a pattern of picking toxic, abusive, emotionally unavailable, avoidant men, how much of your energy, how much is your of your life, how much of your brain power is going into that relationship, and how miserable are you? You know, of course there are good times. I'm gonna mute my phone real quick. Of course there are good times. You wouldn't be in a toxic relationship if there wasn't some kind of payoff, right? You go back to somebody because there is something that you are getting there. And typically, if you are in a situationship, toxic relationship, whatever, you go back because there's an emotional addiction there, okay? And so your romantic relationships, single most important thing. Your family is the single most important thing. Your relationships are everything in your life. I have had a career a great career for the last 5.5 years, going on 6 years. I've always been the breadwinner. I never received child support, and I had always had to figure out how to put food on the table and a roof over our head. But I continue to come back to the most single and most important thing that I'll ever do in my life, even though I've worked with hundreds of women, I've impacted thousands. The most important thing is the relationships that I have with my fiance, my soon to be husband, and my daughter, and my family, and my friends. And I know that there's a lot of women out there doing incredible things in their business, and your love life is a priority. It 100% is a priority. And if it's not a priority for you, if you're like, Morgan, I don't give a shit, then this isn't for you. That's totally fine. But I know it because I work with them, and I was this woman who wanted to get married one day, right? And so I tend to be very observant, and I'm always in talks with different people, whether it's online. I have, you know, countless conversations a week, with multiple different people. I'm always conversing with the people in the outside world, whether again it's my dentist or my hairdresser. And of course, because this is the work of my life, and my career, relationships always get brought up. And so I'll tell you the story about my dentist. I had a procedure done, I think like 2 weeks ago now. And they were so amazing. They fit me in. They knew that I was getting married. And so they moved their schedule around to do my procedure before my wedding. And that was really, really incredible. And so the conversation, once I was talking with my dentist, she goes, "Where did you meet your fiance? There's no good men out there." And I was like, "I met him on Bumble." She's like, "Oh, like talking about dating apps, like, oh, dating apps are terrible. I've been on them, yada, yada." And I was like, "Oh, like that's literally what I do for work is I teach women how to date in the modern world, and I teach them how to attract healthy partners." And she was like, "Men need to be the one that need to be teach. Like you should teach them." Essentially saying like she takes no personal responsibility for her relationships. And so this is no hate on her, no judgment. It's just what I see, what I observe, and then what I take away from it, right? And so, of course, I don't give unsolicited advice. If people want to change their life, change their relationship, I will show up for you 110%. If you don't, there's no work to be done for you at that moment, right? But why she will probably not find love anytime soon is she also mentioned, she's like, "Yeah, when I go on dates, like it's just like, do you want kids? Do you want marriage?" And it's like, okay, these guys are also looking for the love of their life. This is not a job interview. This is not just having him perform for you and you not showing up with an open heart, being the kind of woman that a man would want to marry. You know, we need to take personal responsibility for that. And for the longest time, I struggled with codependency, love addiction, all the things. And I did not take personal responsibility. I always thought it was the man's fault. And for, a good portion of my life, 13 years, I was in toxic and abusive relationships. and situationships, emotionally unavailable, all the things. But I did not understand that I played a huge role in that. And so my dentist probably will not find love anytime soon because she's not willing to look at her side of the street. She's not willing to have an open heart. She has, and again, I am making assumptions just based on what she's told me. So keep that in mind. But based on what she has said, you know, if you have a belief that dating app sucks, that there's no good men out there, that, it's, you have no part in this, what's that going to do for you? You will stay in the same place as you are right now, year after year. Nothing's going to change. Okay. And so that is why I truly made it my mission once I changed my life and my relationships to share it with whoever wants to listen, right? And so when I struggled with this stuff, I thought the same exact thing. No good men are out there. The good ones are already taken. The good men that did want to pursue me, I thought were boring. The guy who didn't want to commit to me, it was like a game to see, how I could win him over. And that is a you problem. That is a pattern within you because you have a fear of emotional intimacy. And so typically, unless you do work on this and you change who you are being while you wait for your person, nothing will change. So, um, my dad said something hilarious a couple years ago to me and Brooke when I ended my last relationship because my ex had cheated on me. We moved home from Florida and we had to live with my parents for a couple months while I was waiting for um, our home to open up. And I, my parents are not dog animal people, and we have a cute little Shih Tzu named Rosie. And yes, she is going to be part of the wedding. Um, my parents did not want Rosie on their guest bed. And me and my daughter are like, come on, nothing's going to happen. She's not going to ruin anything, yada, yada, yada. And so they gave in. Well, I changed Rosie's treats and she went to the bathroom all over the guest bed. And it was dark and my dad had to get something in the guest room and he climbed on the bed and kneeled in it. And he was so mad. And he goes, if you don't change anything, then nothing changes. And I was like, wow, like wise words from Tom. If you don't change anything, nothing changes. And what he meant by that was if you don't change her food, then that's not going to happen. Right. And it's true. If you don't change anything, nothing will change. The woman that I am today is not the same woman who was in a situationship with someone for 3 years that would always tell me, you are my closest friend. We would do all the relationship things together, vacation, do all the things, be on the phone for hours, yada yada. I was not the same person then as I am now. I have much higher standards. And I do not waste my time with anyone who does not want what I want and who is actively pursuing me, which is why I have the relationship with my fiance that I have today. My fiance is my rock, the most amazing person in my life. And I am so incredibly lucky to have him, so incredibly grateful to have him. The woman who was in abusive relationships, not the same woman as I am today, because I have a high self esteem, a high level of confidence, and a high level of worth. And again, I am so solid in who I am and what I want and the way that I want to feel that I could never, ever, ever be caught up in a toxic relationship, ever. And my clients say the same thing because once you change how you feel and you change who you're being and you start actually getting treated with love, respect, and devotion and pursuit by good men, you literally can never go back. Like something within you shifts and changes, and you have a new baseline for your life and how you want to feel. Oh no, hold on one second, guys. Okay, I'm good. I thought that I was supposed to be on a call with our DJ right now, and then give me 1 second. Um, Hold on, hold please. I'm gonna do it in a minute. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Once you raise your baseline, you can't go back. And once you're treated in a certain way, because a lot of the times, like we have such low standards because you don't think that anything's going to get better, or you are grasping at crumbs because you think that's as good as it can get. But once you change who you're being and you raise your standards and actually realize that people are going to meet you because you are a special human being and you have so many amazing things about you, you're like, how the fuck did I settle for anything less? Right. And so my clients right now are going out on great dates with great men who are abiding by their boundaries. They are pursuing them. They are spoiling them with attention, with adoration, with taking them out on incredible dates, all the things. And these are women who couldn't even get the bare minimum from the men before. And so who you're being makes all the difference. And so if you show up like my dentist in love and say, nothing's ever going to work out for me. All men are trash. They are the ones that need to do the work, not me. You are going to get absolutely nowhere. So we can't change what men are going to do. We can't change how they're going to show up. Okay. But we can change who we're being so that we are an energetic match for better men. Right. So that's the way that we need to think about it. Look at what you're attracting in your life. Who are you attracting? Who are you going out on dates with? What kind of relationships have you tolerated? Just look at that and say, what within me is an energetic match for this? If I did not, I would, my fiance would never be attracted to me if he would have met me 5 years ago, because I therapized men, I was mothering, I did not understand polarity, which is incredibly important. And if you keep attracting man children, I don't know how you'd say that, but if you keep attracting that, look at your behaviors. Are you mothering? Are you the one putting in the emotional labor and the physical labor? Because listen, you cannot have two masculine energies in a relationship. You cannot have two feminine energies in a relationship. There's always, always, always a masculine and a feminine. It just depends on who the person is being in it. So if you are feminine in your relationship and you are in your feminine energy in your relationship, you will attract a masculine man. If you are the masculine in love who is overdoing, overgiving, therapizing, mothering, all of the things, you will attract a passive man. And these dynamics can shift throughout a relationship. If you start off being in your feminine energy in your relationship, and then something happens down the line and you fall back into old patterns and you start mothering and controlling and all the things, your partner is going to lean back. Okay. And so this work is incredibly important. Polarity is incredibly important. And I've talked about this for years, because you cannot have a healthy, loving, incredible relationship while you are being a therapist to your partner, to men, mothering a man. It's not going to work for you. You're going to get burnt out. You're going to get resentful, and he's not going to be turned on. Okay. He will not feel like he wants to be your hero. So polarity is wildly important. So my message is to you, whether if you are wanting to date right now, take inventory of what your behaviors are. If you are not wanting to date right now and you are healing your heart, this is where I want you to get so incredibly clear on who you are and what you want and how you want to feel. If you are hyper independent and you feel like because you've got, these other areas of your life. I've worked with quite a few women who are, badasses in business. And because they have that financial security and they have that kind of freedom, that their love life can be on the back burner. And so no matter where, if you're hyper independent, you're not supposed to stay there. If you have a desire, even if it's a small desire, to be in a high value partnership, you're going to have to do the work of opening your heart. You're going to have to do the work of being interdependent, not independent, right? So don't be like my dentist. So, like, plain and simple, don't be like my dentist. Look at your heart. Look at your part, what you can shift. That is the work that I do with my clients. It's a becoming. And if you're getting impatient, you're saying, Morgan, I've done this work and, it's not changing and I'm not where I want to be. Chances are you have not been doing the correct work. If you've been doing personal development, but not relationship transformation, that's your problem. I see a lot of women in the personal development world. I work with women in the personal development world. They've done incredible personal development, but it does not relate to their relationship, their love life. And so that's the work that I do with my clients. And so if you find that you're getting impatient, we've got to look at, who are you being while you're waiting? Who are you being while you're waiting? Are you waiting to be happy and have a fulfilling life before your partner comes in? Are you waiting on that? Are you waiting for a man to come in and save you? Who you are being while you wait matters. So are you sleeping with guys who do not deserve your body, time, and attention? Are you inviting guys over at night because you're bored and you're lonely and you're just wanting to fill some time? Are you demonizing men and tearing them down and all the things while you're waiting? Who you're being when you're waiting determines how quickly your partner is going to come in. So the reason my hairdresser, she's a young girl, she's so cute. She told me, she was like, I want to be a mother and have a family so badly. And I told her, I was like, if I would have, she's 10 years younger than me, if I would have known the stuff that you know now, and I would be where you, and if I was where you are at right now, I would not have gone through all the horrible things that I went through. And so she is putting herself in a really good position. She was inquisitive about asking me questions about her ex-partner and how she should be showing up and what she should be doing and all these things. She was so willing to learn, to ask questions, to get outside of her comfort zone. She said that she was scared to use the apps. She had never used them before. She also said that she buries herself in her work and doesn't let herself go out. And I told her, I was like, no, go out and live your life. Go have the time of your life. Do things that, you wouldn't normally do. Put yourself out into situations that you wouldn't normally put yourself in, that are obviously good for you. And go get your ass on some apps. And I taught her, or I shared with her how to use them. Because again, apps are not the problem. They are a vehicle. They are a tool. If you know how to use them, you will have much more success, like my clients do. So no, apps are not the problem, but she was so willing to show up. She was so willing to see, okay, what do I need to shift? What do I need to change? And that's why she's going to get her epic love affair probably very soon if she, embodies everything that we chatted about. Your willingness to look at your own behavior, your willingness to show up as the woman who is wife material matters. Um, your energy matters. The way that you speak matters. And a lot of the times I see women who have spent years diving into this kind of stuff, but the embodiment's missing. And so I teach uh, mindset, energetics, and strategy so that you are embodying this stuff. It's not just wasted time with, yeah, you're learning, you have the education, you are, and again, that was my problem. I was like, I learned all this stuff, but then I wasn't implementing it. And so your implementation is just as important as the information piece of it. So how you're showing up, what you're doing, are you being a woman that a high value man can't get enough of? Are you being that? Because that, again, it matters. They're looking for their epic love affair as well. And so we have to keep that in mind. If you have a criteria of a man, we also have to ask, what kind of woman will this man want? And that doesn't mean you're like not being authentic. It's just if you want a healthy masculine man, you're going to need to be the counterpart of that, the feminine woman. What does that feminine woman look like? Again, this is everything that I teach my clients. And I have something special for you while I am out of town for my honeymoon. I'm going to be completely unplugged, but I still will be posting. Not me, but I've scheduled posts because I want you to experience what I have. What I have is so far beyond anything that I ever even knew or thought was possible in the relationship that I have. And I've tried to, explain it the best that I can in all the posts that I do, in all the programs that I run. But until you have it, it's just, you really can't fully put it into words. So, I mean, I do a pretty good job at it, but when it comes to the criteria that you have, I had a client ask me the other day, she's like, what do you think about age gap? Like, does it matter? And me and Mike are 13 years apart. What matters is how you feel with this person and if they share the same values as you, the same vision for your life, the same vision for your life. So I can't really say that age matters a whole lot if you have the same vision, the same values, and you feel how you want to feel with this person, and they meet your needs and your wants. And so I've chatted about this before, but so many women are caught up on this criteria of them needing to be 6'5", having, a certain color of eyes, a certain job, a certain, um, you know, just the way that they look, the amount of money they make. To be honest, that shit just does not matter. Yes, it matters if you want a provider man, but it doesn't matter if he's a business owner, a CEO, or whatever, as long as he provides for you and takes care of you. Don't get caught up in the nitty gritty details. I was at a, um, I was at a retreat back in April. And I was talking with this woman, and she had worked with like all these manifestation experts and all the things. First of all, I talked to her for, a short period of time, and I knew exactly what was keeping her from having her epic love affair, which was her fear of emotional intimacy and her softness and her openness, simply put. But all these manifestation experts were like, get so clear down to the kind of clothes that he wears and the kind of job that he has and the color of eyes that he has. And I was like, no, that is not correct. That is hindering you. Don't do that. It matters. That shit just does not fucking matter. I cannot stress that enough. What matters is his character. So, what I'll tell you is some of the most toxic people I have met in the personal development industry and uh, Christianity. Okay. And so I've actually come back to my Christian faith. But what I want to say is like, it doesn't matter if the guy's in personal development. It doesn't matter if he goes to church. It matters who the fuck he is. Who is he being? Does he have good character? Does he embody if you're wanting a Christian man, does he embody the kind of man, a biblical man? If in personal development, is he embodying the personal development that he says he does? The previous relationship that I had, the guy was a coach and he was very successful and he did all sorts of inner child work, shadow work, ayahuasca, plant medicine. Still fucking cheated on me. And you know insecure, covert, I'm not gonna label. Um, but come on. So no, your next partner does not need to do inner child work. He does not need to make gratitude lists. He does not need to do shadow work or whatever. Like truly, if you want a Christian or religious man, um, obviously like you would want a partner who would pray with you and go to church with you and those types of things, so that is important, but how he treats you is number one. Who he's being with you is number one. So don't get caught up in all this, this laundry list of criteria for this man to meet. That's not the way. That's not going to protect you. A lot of us think that that's going to be our special protection cloak, is this big laundry list, and it's not. My ex was everything that I put on my list that I thought mattered, still was not the right person for me. God and the universe surprised me in the best way with my fiance because I knew how I wanted to feel. I knew the values and I knew the character that I wanted. And then I became the type of woman that that kind of man would want to pursue. And I mean, obviously it worked out pretty well. Right. So that's what you need to keep in mind, is keeping your heart open, keeping your mind open, being willing to change your side of the street without beating yourself up, without making yourself wrong, all the things. Just take responsibility and be willing. Willingness is half the battle. That's it. Willingness is half the battle. Yes, we have to do, think, and feel for the other part. But if you are willing to make the changes, you do not have to get it perfect. Because I made a post yesterday, I think it was yesterday, saying that being loved by a good man will heal wounds that you've been spending probably tens of thousands of dollars trying to heal through, the coach that talks about the ancestral lineage and all these things and, hustling and hitting your next income goal and all that shit. Okay. Being loved by a good man, I will die on this hill of saying your love life comes before your career. I'm a career woman. I am so glad that I prioritized my love life because I mean, having a great man support you while you are doing business shit is everything. Having a great man to be a father to your child is everything. Having a great man to love you for all the things that you've been told was wrong about you. It heals you on so many levels, and no amount of journaling, no amount of, other kind of work will heal you the way that a good man's love will, because there's only so much work that you can do on your own. There's levels of work. Again, what I share with my clients, there's a level of work that you have to get to before you are ready for your epic love affair. However, There's things that I never would have been able to heal on my own without my soon to be husband's love. Um, and so prioritize your love life. Make it something that you are willing to put time, energy, and effort into instead of just hiding away and praying for it to work or, just waiting without doing any of the work. I hear that a lot too, is I'm praying for my person, but they're not doing anything about it. What's that going to do for you? There's a quote, bow your head, but move your feet. God helps those who help themselves. Do the work. There are so many coaches out there who paint this picture of, oh, you just had an orgasm while thinking about your wedding dress on the day you get married and your partner will come in. Don't buy into the garbage. It requires work from you. It requires you to get uncomfortable. It requires you to change who you've been being. There's just like the get rich quick schemes. Get love quick. That's not what it's about. And that's not what I teach either. It's like, yes, do my clients have really accelerated healing? Yes. There are clients that have worked with me for a couple of weeks and then they meet the man who they ended up marrying. There's women in my world move fast, but it's because of the becoming that happens. It's not, just like magic spells or whatever. No, it's like they're doing the right work. And that's why my program works so well. So yes, it will require effort from you. And it can work for you. And it does work faster than others. I've had clients who have gotten their epic love affair right away. And I have had clients who it's taken them a while. And neither one is wrong. It's just about what your journey is in this life. But wouldn't you rather be on a journey that feels good instead of checking your watch every 5 minutes to see if the man's appeared yet and stressing and feeling miserable and then saying yes to men that you don't want to say yes to because it's not happening fast enough? Right? So if you want to live a good life, if you want to have a good love in your life, if you want to, whether you want to get married, there are clients that want to get married of mine, and there are clients who they're like, I just want a long-term partnership. Whatever it is that you want, it's available to you. You can achieve it. You can have it. But you do just have to get clear on your desires and then make it a priority. We always have time for what's important to us. And the last thing that I want to share with you is if you want to have what you want, be more like my hairdresser and not my dentist, because your willingness will change your life. Your openness will change your life. You making different moves, even when it's scary, you've got to trust that letting go of the guy and sitting in your loneliness and discomfort and facing yourself, that is short-term discomfort for long-term relationship transformation, for long-term happiness. We've got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. We've got to be okay with letting go of someone or something that no longer serves us before the new thing has come in, because that's where faith comes into play. And you really recognize your true power in those moments. You being willing to be lonely, you being willing to feel rejected and all the things. Like one thing that I said after my last relationship, I realized where I was guarding my heart. And I said, I'm willing to get my heart broken. If I can get through this heartbreak, publicly, might I add, and deal with the humiliation and all the things, if I can get through that, I can get through anything. I am willing to get my heart broken if it means that I truly opened myself up to somebody who can truly love me and get close to me. Like love is always going to be a risk. Mike could literally leave me tomorrow. He won't, but he could. My heart could get broken tomorrow. Anybody's heart could get broken tomorrow. But if you do the right work, you will essentially heartbreak proof your relationships if you always embody the right work of who you're being and you trust that no matter what, I can handle it. I can handle if somebody breaks my heart. I can handle a disagreement. I can handle rejection. I can handle a bad date. I can handle somebody seeing the real me and deciding it's not for them. Does that feel scary? Yes. Can you do it? Yes. And that doesn't mean that you're saying, I have to go through this. You're saying, I'm willing. And a lot of the times when you're just willing to do it, you don't actually have to suffer and go through the thing that you're saying you're willing to do. It's just your willingness. So keep your eyes out for next week. Again, I'm going off the grid. I'm going offline. I will not personally be available, but I have scheduled posts because I have something special for you that you will totally want to get your hands on if you want to change your love life forever and want to make this a priority. I have something special for you. So keep your eyes peeled. Me personally, I will not be available, but you'll see. You'll see. All right. I love you all so much. Bye.